You're listening to the Mississippi Outdoors Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Wyatt. Did you know that here in Mississippi, for almost 8 months out of the year, we have people who are fox hunting, dressing up on horseback, old school. That's right. And we're going to learn about that and more today on the show with Allison Cruz.
Mississippi Outdoors is sponsored by Entergy Mississippi. Entergy is building a stronger and cleaner grid to power a brighter future and protect our great outdoors for generations to come.
You're listening to the Mississippi Outdoors Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Wyatt. And today we get to meet another person associated with the Swamp Witches, who we met some of your friends last year on the podcast, but Allison Cruz with us here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here, and I appreciate y'all taking the time to find out what's going on in our world.
Yeah, and in the outdoors where you spend a lot of time with your friends.
I do.
So do you accept the credit that they kind of give to you as sort of the founder of what became the Swamp Witches, Allison?
I'll accept the credit, but it is definitely not an exclusive group. We try to expand that all the time by asking other people to go with us. Our whole thing is we have a great time in the outdoors. But one thing I found when I started, I've been hunting and fishing and doing all the outdoors things my whole life. But what I found as I've grown older is that there are very few people that will take women hunting besides their significant others, and there's a lot of tension sometimes that can be that can happen there. And we just get out there and have a good time and make it low pressure and make it fun, but still get to spend time together outside. And we'd like to bring others along and kids along so we can just introduce people to all the fun things that we can do outside of Mississippi.
Yeah. You and I were discussing earlier that term, the elevator pitch,
right?
What something is. So when you meet someone and they hear that term, the Swamp Witches, and they go, well, hey, wait a minute, what is that?
Well,
How do you answer that?
Sometimes they give me a little, some kind of wild hex sign. I'm like, no, Jesus loves you. I'm a good. It's not about that. We got called the Swamp Witches by my husband, and what was funny is my husband and I raised two boys. They're now grown men with their own kids. But when we would go duck hunting in the mornings, we would leave our children at the camp with babysitters. And then after he and I would hunt, and my cousin Kate Morrison, my late cousin Kate, we would go out again later with the kids, and the babysitters would go with us. And my husband laughed and said, "Look at those Swamp Witches go. She just won't stop. We'd already been hunting, and we're going out again, taking the kids." So that was the origin of it. And then since then, core group of girlfriends and I always try to, we meet at least once a year, and most of the time twice a year, to duck hunt specifically just with us or another guest. And our hunting club is limited to 4 guns to hunt. So we could take 20 people, but we'll only shoot 4 limits. Yeah. So over the years, I've tried to keep it to 4 every time we go, but everybody wants to go. So it ends up most of the time being just a loud party in the swamp. But the point is that they all got introduced to duck hunting. One of them already had duck hunted growing up, and she was coming back into it. And we hit it off just like, matches and gasoline in a good way. But and then our other friends that had not been exposed to it had never been in these Mississippi swamps, and how beautiful they are. These our places. We have 2. One of them's behind the levee, and one of them's just right outside of the levee in North Mississippi. And we have a great time going back there and chasing ducks and trying to figure out where they're going to be. And we actually go in canoes, and we train our own dogs and do all our calling and figuring out the wind and the decoys and all that. And it's just a blast. We have a great time doing it.
Well, and then the New York Times wrote an article, right?
Oh yes, that was big, and I had no idea how big just being mentioned in the New York Times would be. And we actually had to hire or enlist the assistance of an agent to politely decline all the offers that we got to do shows, and that was when reality shows were coming along. And in fact, I will take credit for redirecting a group to the Duck Dynasty bunch. I said, look, you don't need to talk to me. You need to talk to Phil Robertson and his crew.
Wow.
I was not interested raising boys, have a business, not interested in that type of media in my life. This is fine, but a whole show is a whole different thing with your family.
Whole different thing. Where did you grow up? And
I grew up in Jackson, and I married a guy from Memphis. And I'd always hunted growing up, but once I married Jim, I married into Duck Dynasty, basically. Married into, they're not Duck Dynasty Louisiana, but Memphis type Duck Dynasty. And a little preppy group that liked to go out and shoot the ducks. And anyway, it was really getting into that Memphis culture, and he lives for it. And so I was introduced by him, and what attracted me to the duck hunting was the dogs. I've always had dogs and always trained my own. I had a pair of golden retrievers at the time, and he didn't like dogs at the time because he said people just yell at him all the time in the swamp. And so I said, well, we're not yell at my dogs. And we started hunting, and he really became a believer. And now we have Chesapeake Bay Retrievers and British Labs.
And you train them?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, everything. Dogs, children. Not so much husband, but
right.
anyway.
Well, that's a lost
y'all
cause,
are lost cause. That's right.
When did you start that, though, training your own dogs?
8 or 9 years old.
Really?
I've always had an Irish setter that would pull me around the neighborhood on a skateboard. And I would give him hand signals or voice signals, left, right. I didn't even know that was a thing. And so just always been able to talk to the animals, I guess you'd say.
How about that? And then that sort of naturally then parlayed into hunting dogs. And you still do that now? You still train
Just
them
for
now?
myself, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. And I have 5, so I'm busy with that.
But have you ever had someone, though, that asked you, hey...
years ago, I did
please?
that for a while. Yeah, I did that. When Jim and I first got married, I did that for a little while. And then it turned out not working out so well because everybody I wanted to have litters and then train started dogs and sell started dogs, but everybody got attached to them, and you can't sell Fido, that kind of thing.
Right, sure. So you were introduced to the outdoors as a child, and you marry into a family that are avid outdoorsmen.
Right.
You touched on it a minute ago, though, the idea that, it might be different for a young girl or a young woman in terms of their openness.
If they aren't introduced to it, right.
If they aren't introduced to it. And what do you think the solution to that is? Or is it just simply getting it in front of them or putting a fishing rod in their hand or getting them in a deer stand? Is that
the solution? There are 2 solutions. One is to have a friend and take a friend. I mean, somebody needs to take that person and be patient enough and let them figure out what it is about that outdoor experience that they love. I might love the dog part, but this person may not like that. They might not like getting the dogs shaking on them or whatever. They may like cooking in the blind, or they may actually like to shoot or whatever. There's all kinds of different ways you can enjoy duck hunting, deer hunting, all that. And not everybody has the same. I mean, duck hunting is relatively social, but there are times that I like to go by myself. But more often, I consider duck hunting more of a social thing than, say, deer hunting. But on the other hand, when I was raising my boys and I'd be in the deer stand with my child and he'd start talking, I'd have to talk to myself and say, let your child talk. How much longer is that boy going to want to talk to his mother? Forget about the deer or the turkey or whatever, and let that child talk to you, because it just gives you a lot of open time with kids. You're doing something, but you also have time where you can interact with them. Same with girlfriends. I mean, it's a way to meet more people and develop relationships, and that's what we're called to do in this world, is to reach out and meet others and show them the beauty of the earth or whatever it is that you like, and connect with other people, because I know that we were not made to be alone, and that's biblical.
Well, it is. And that's what I'm picking up on what you're saying is it's not just the end result or the destination of killing a limit.
Right.
Or, there's a trophy I can put on my wall. It's really much deeper than that for you.
Oh, absolutely. It's a spiritual thing for me. I mean, it really is. And it's, it's not church, but it is a way I interact and feel the presence of God better there than when a turkey's walking up to you. I mean, there's nothing like that feeling. And when you have those ducks that are just turning right when you call just exactly right, and they come in with their feet hanging down, there's just nothing like that, because you're communicating with them. You're not just shooting them as they fly by. So and when people understand how magical that is, because a lot of people aren't even exposed to that type of duck hunting. They just have been with big groups and lots of loud, but when you have a little bit smaller group and you're standing by a tree and you're hiding, and those mallards or gadwalls come right in. There's just nothing like it.
Nothing like it. Okay, so you mentioned canoe. You go in a canoe, and I'm thinking,
Quiet.
right, canoe, cold water. Surely there's been an accident somewhere along the way. Maybe not.
Not, well, it's shallow. Yes, we've had plenty of accidents, people falling out, but usually you can put your foot down. So it's
Okay,
not dangerous, scary. Lots of misadventures. I've had one time stands out, canoeing and ice don't really get along that well. And we don't have a lot of ice in Mississippi, but when we do, it can happen real quickly. And in a canoe, in the dark, in the ice, they just are not great at breaking ice. And I have gotten so upset one time, I went, let me 500 or 600 yards off of where I planned to be. And here it was shooting time. And I looked over and there was a blind nearby. And I thought, gosh, how far have we gone? We were not going to that blind. We were going to some trees in a hole. And thankfully there was a friend in the blind. He said, come on over here, y'all, come on with us. And so we brought our biscuits and our food and our limits. And we got to go sit in there with them. And I was so embarrassed because I was lost in the dark in my own swamp. But it happens.
Yeah. Well, and there's only a few places really, I guess, in the country where someone like you can say my own swamp.
Right. It's very nice. I married into that. It's lovely. But I will say it's my own swamp, but we do share it. And what I love about the places that we hunt, it's Ward Lake and Bobo Break in Northeast Mississippi, but we all get along with each other, and we know there's sort of unwritten rule that if you do get off course or if you have some problems, don't just stop there and shoot and mess up the people next to you. Just hunt together or whatever, and just try to be respectful of other people.
Okay, so I was doing a little reading too before you got here. Fox hunting on horseback, right?
Yes.
All right, take me back. When did that become a thing for you?
Dressed up on horseback, and it all came about the same time I met Jim, my husband. And around 1989, I had been horseback riding my whole life and did a little bit of showing. For about 5 minutes, nobody was smiling, so I was like, this isn't for me. But anyway, did a little of that, and saw that right up the road from me, there was a fox hunt that was happening at dressed up tally-ho, like the old English style. And sure enough, in Pickens, Mississippi, Miss Whitty Payne had property up there, and she had a hunt there. And at the time, it was a Whitworth hunt. It was a different ownership. The land was still owned by Miss Whitty Payne, but we went up there and hunt. It was just an event to kind of get to know people. An event called a hunter pace, which is a timed trail ride basically, and you read instructions and you pretend that the fox does this, that, and the other, and you try to guess the timing, and you jump these jumps and go around these bushes and come back, and you get a prize based on who was the most. Who had the most optimum time. Okay. And of course, my little girlfriend that I had with me and I did it the fastest time because we just thought it was a fun race through the woods. But anyway, so from that day, when I discovered that, it was more than 30 years ago, I really haven't missed a weekend. Really, but because once I heard the hounds, and that reminded me of deer hunting when I was a kid, when you listen to the dogs come by and you're sitting there and your heart's beating big and you're thinking, what's going to run by? Oh my gosh, that reminded me of so much of that. And then, of course, horseback and then dressing up. And you dress up in certain outfits out of respect for the landowners. So you don't just show up there in shorts and a T-shirt and a saddle. You try to look nice. And we're not snobby about it, but you do try to wear the outfit. It's like a baseball player's not going to go on the field in a football uniform. Right. I mean, they can probably do the same thing, but it's just not the same. Yeah. So we try to respect the landowners, and really it's a chase sport for the most part. The hounds are trained to hunt together, and they can hunt coyote, fox, or bobcat. And as soon as they get on that, then we try to keep them all together and follow and see how long we can keep up with them. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
What time of year is this happening?
Starts in August, so it starts pretty much in a few weekends. We should any minute be starting that, and that's called cub hunting, which is more casual, not all the dressed up clothes, and it's usually really early in the morning for about an hour to get the hounds used to working with each other with people on horseback, because it's a year-round sport for people that take care of the hounds. I mean, we have 30 of them, 40 of them, a lot of hounds.
Okay. So year-round for them in that they run them year-round. Is that what you're saying?
Practice them, walk them, get them to learn to work together, learn to command, just like any dog that you have, it's got to learn to be obedient and work with the group and take care of. You have to feed them and worm them and do all the stuff like that.
Sure. Is it beagles?
No, they are what most people would consider. They're not walker hounds, but that's the look. They're tall. Okay. They're actually a mixture of they're foxhounds. Okay. And some of them are Penn Marydale foxhounds. Some of them are crossbreds, English American. There's lots of different types. And the one there's a hunt that hunts in Mississippi, but is out of a lot of Memphis people, and that's all Penn Marydales. They are really beautiful. Okay. And then the local hunt here in the Jackson area is the kennels are actually out in Bolton, and those are crossbreds. Okay. And then there's another hunt that hunts, the kennels are in Greensboro, Alabama, and they hunt at the Black Prairie Wildlife Management Area, and some other places, and they're crossbreds too.
So you mentioned some of those places that have the fox hunting. 3
different clubs in the region right now. Okay. Well, actually 4. There's another one outside of Memphis called Oak Grove.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is how popular is it, or is it sort of a real niche thing for a few groups here and there? Like, how would you describe it?
I would say once you get exposed to it, it's hard not to love it. Yeah. So it's popular. It's not as very well known. Yeah. It does, like duck hunting, it takes a bit of equipment, but the showing is a bigger deal. And I think it's because it's more controlled. Fox hunting is not controlled. That's what I loved about it. And you get to see wide open countryside and really get to see lots of areas, because really to have a good fox hunt, you need a minimum because typically we hunt coyotes more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And you need access to about 3,000 acres to do it right. So we owe all this to landowners that let us come, and we want to be sure our hounds don't chase deer. All that. We want them to stay on the game. And so we're welcome to come to different people's properties.
Sure. I would think from a dog training standpoint, that is a challenge, right?
Oh,
that they don't chase deer, but they do.
Yes. Well, there are fox pens around the state, and they train them in those, so they get used to that scent. As you know, with your own dog, how hard it is to get them to behave, much less 40 of them at the same time when they get excited, and you're on horseback. So it is truly amazing to watch the huntsman as they, for example, our huntsman, Petra Kay, will pull up to a place and with a trailer full of hounds and open the door, and they wait until she tells them to come out. And then before she loads them, they wait before they go back in. So it's just really cool to watch all that. They know their names. We learn their sounds of what they sound like. And I don't know if you've ever listen to your own dog. He's got different barks for different things. I mean, my labs have a turtle bark. They have a snake bark. They have a squirrel bark. They have a different sound when they get excited. So.
They do. Yeah, and I think there's probably some rabbit hunters over the years.
They know their names. They know the sounds.
All the names, and they can be a long ways off and know which dog they're hearing.
Same here. And Mississippi has a long tradition of the night hounds. I don't know much about that, but I know that's been around for years. And those are more hounds that hunt singly, individually, and they'll listen to old Blue over here and old Jimmy over here. Mm-hmm. Well, the same in our pack. They're trained to hunt as a pack, but we know which ones are good strike hounds, which talk too much, which just make a bunch of noise. That's called babbling, which I sound like I'm doing now. But no. When you're on when a good one gets on it, and the other hounds know that too, and they'll honor him and go to or her and go to that. So
that's great.
It's a whole interesting sport. So
how does someone like you? Because we haven't even touched on some things you're involved with now, we will, but how does someone like you find time throughout the year for all the different activities and things you want to do, from fox hunting to duck hunting to deer hunting to turkey hunting? Is it just, how do you fit it all in a
Thank goodness most of them come at different times of the year. That's for sure. And of course, we all have to earn a living on top of that. So that's a challenge. But, I find that we all get the same amount of time. We don't even own a television. Now I watch Netflix and all that. But, if you think about how much time you waste doing things that really you have more time than you think, not you personally, but people have we have a lot more time to have leisure time. And a lot of times we don't, I live where I can get on my horse every single day and ride for an hour, 6 to 7. Do I do that every day? I'd like to say I did, but I don't. And I try to, because I've now shamed myself into getting my exercise every day. Come on, you live right beside your horse. Get up and get on that horse and go trot around get off your bed, don't hit snooze. Yeah. And, you just make time for things that matter. And one of the things I've noticed, consistency a little bit goes a long way. Like with dog training, you can't just wake up the day before opening dove season and hope that dog, when you turn her loose, is going to come back. She's going to go see everybody in the field. So it's a little bit all the time. Same with the horses. Same with the duck hunting. We try to go as much as we can, and the turkeys, but we try to work it all in and keep some sort of a balance. But it's mainly choices, because it's really, you can't balance everything. You have to make choices, and thankfully, our children love to hunt too. Whether they did or didn't matter. One of them liked to ride and one of them didn't. But the one that didn't became a good rider, because when I would punish him, he would have to go get on the horse, tack it up for mama, and we're going for a ride. So he knows how to ride. And he thanks me now because he met his wife through the fox hunting and was impressed her that he knew how to do all that.
How about that? I think that you buried the lead there.
There you go.
That fox hunting sport in your family has led to
two daughters-in-law. That's right.
Two daughters-in-law.
Wonderful.
Really cool.
And my little grandchildren who will turn a year old in September, both of them. They were born 2 states away, but born right 2 days away. They've both already been on their pony that I got for them, of course.
And one thing you mentioned, it starts in August and goes until
March, of course, until the Ides of March, when turkey season starts.
Okay.
And we all know that day. That's sacred in Mississippi. No hounds are to be run during turkey season, and I hope that stays that way. And I really wish through this podcast we could ask the loggers to not start their saws until 7 or 8 o'clock. So if anybody can put that through the legislature, that would be great, because there's nothing more irritating than listening to hounds. And we do stop, and loggers really, really early in the morning when you just heard that gobbler. And I know it doesn't bother the turkeys, but it does bother us.
It bothers the turkey hunters.
Yeah.
So you have then, with Mississippi weather, you can be out there on a fox hunt on a horse, and it's hot as all get out early in the season, or you could be freezing to death in the latter part of the season.
Got a lot of clothes. And the cool thing also about Mississippi is you can duck hunt in the morning and fox hunt and come back and deer hunt. So you could do that trifecta in one day if you're living right, like in the Delta. And that has been one of my favorite days ever, is to get a limit of ducks in the morning, chase coyotes and have good chases on that, and then shoot a nice wall hanging deer in the afternoon. So
you've done all three?
I've done that before. Day? I've done that. Oh, I've done that many times in one day, but it's only one day that I actually got all three, and I wish I had thought to take a picture.
And you may have coined a term there, the Mississippi Trifecta.
The trifecta. Well, our fox hunting trifecta, we call that chasing a coyote and a fox and a bobcat on the same day. Yeah. But that would be a fox hunting one, because those are our three that we can chase.
How often do you encounter a bobcat compared to the others?
I would say percentage-wise, maybe 10%.
Okay.
Not as often. I'd say fox probably 20%, and the rest coyote, and maybe even more on coyote than what I just said. But it depends on where we're hunting and who we're hunting with and the areas, because we get all of that. So.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about earlier time, fitting everything in, and you have something else that has been added into your life recently, and the acronym's MOST, and that's how I'm going to remember it. MOST, M-O-S-T, Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust.
That's right.
How'd I do?
You did great, and I really just learned about it too. It started at the legislature, put some money out there for all of us to go out and put projects before this group. And I'm a board member now, so I'm just learning about this. I just had my first meeting last month. But basically, it's money that's out there for I would say the easiest way to describe it, like municipalities or organizations, to get money to beef up their outdoor activities that are accessible by public people. I mean, you can have a few private things go down, and but the heart of it is to let people that I mean, I live on a bunch of land, and I was born into the hunting dynasty, I guess you'd say. But a lot of people don't have that. And we want to make sure that in Mississippi we have access for people to go kayaking, canoeing, fishing, duck hunting, deer hunting, turkey hunting, and improve those types of things and improve access so people can take kids and their girlfriends or boyfriends, whatever, to go out and play outside.
So a town, a city, a municipality can go to you, to this trust, and say, okay, we have this, we need to improve this, or we need to add this, and it's going to instigate fishing. It's going to help introduce hiking, whatever.
There's a Most website that explains all that. And actually from August to mid-September is when those programs, we on the board help evaluate which ones we're going to put money in. So I think as of now, I'm a little bit behind. I'm going to read off of this brochure, but not counting this year, I think $40 million has been allocated since 2022 by the legislature. And the cool thing about it is the board in its wisdom and the organization have leveraged that to get almost $90 million of matching funds to add to the $40 million. Wow. So we want matching funds. So you're not just throwing money at things that won't get help. So we want organizations that are committed to come in here and say, hey, I've got a great idea to help, whatever. So,
outdoor related activity. And so those people listening, that might ring a bell with them wherever they live or whatever they're involved in. They can just go to the website.
And then it'll have all and there's also, there'll be some workshops around this. I know they had one, the board hosted one at the Wildlife Museum, and just to show people how do you get this money? How do we do it? How do we spend it? How are we going to oversee the funding? But I'm excited about it because really there are so many great places to go and fish, but you need to have some places that are accessible and easy. I back to the canoes. The reason I use canoes is I don't want to fool with a motor in the middle of the night and freezing or not. Jim handles that. My husband has the Go Devil, and I thank you, Warren Coco, for Go Devils, because they can get us anywhere we need to go. That long tail motor is wonderful, and it does break ice a lot better than canoes.
I bet it does,
but in the early morning when I'm trying to get 4, 5, 6 girls ready, I want to go to places where canoes can reach, and it's a lot less trouble for me.
Sure. Well, it's really neat. And for those listening, I'll say it again. MOST is the acronym, Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust. And you can go to that website and learn more about it right there.
Yeah.
Well, it's really neat to get a chance to meet you. And Allison, it was one of those where when we had your friends and some of the other swamp witches here last year, they kept saying Allison this and Allison that. I think Chip thought, well, doggone, we got to get Allison here. So it's a pleasure to get to meet you and hear you talk about it.
Glad to be here and glad to represent Mississippi. And I hope to encourage everyone listening to take a friend hunting. It is nice to get away, and sometimes you do want to get away with friends or by yourself. But if you can, the only way we're going to expand people to enjoy. I'm tripping all over myself. But the only way we're going to introduce people to the outdoors is to take the time and do it yourself. If you say, I wish more people would get away from their screens or the kids, I'm not against that. I love to play on my phone as much as anybody does, and it's my favorite thing. But it is nice to get out, and the only way that's going to happen is you have to take the time and the effort. And, they may not wake up and show up and, go rattle them out of bed, make them come on and make it fun for them and let them have a good time. Don't just take them because you can beef up your limits or whatever. Just go out there and have a good time with it, and take at least one new person a year. I would challenge everybody to do that.
It sounds like you're saying somebody's got to take the initiative.
They do. It's not going to happen.
I thought some of those old sayings. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
I think it was Henry Ford said, nothing happens until somebody sells something.
Right.
We can want people to be introduced to the outdoors, but somebody like yourself is putting forth the effort and actually taking people hunting.
And teach them the rules. There are a lot of unwritten rules. There's a lot of rules about license and limits and all that. But just common sense, courtesy. If you're hunting near somebody, duck hunting, you don't just there's a lot of things that I was raised with that people don't know. And instead of just getting mad about it, thinking, I want to give you, it's nothing like you get mad at that person in the duck boat next to you because you don't know who they are. Then you're just, you're so, but when you know who they are, you're like, oh, that's just good old so-and-so. And we can work together. We can text and work that out. But that's the thing. Just we need to teach people manners and how to deal we don't have to just get out there and hope everybody's going to learn it by osmosis. It's not common sense anymore. It may have been at one point, but it's not anymore.
Well, and most of us, we're going to learn so much faster and more effectively by hands-on and with somebody who
and
can
make
teach
it fun.
us.
And make it fun.
And when it is fun, you learn better.
I will add to that. And for me, it's not about shooting and killing something at all. I don't care. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. I am not going to get up at 4:00 in the morning and walk a mile in the woods to go look at a bird just for the heck of it. I'm going to go do that only for a turkey and the chance that a turkey's going to come up and do the dance with me and in my face, real close up. I'm not going to shoot him far away. He's going to have to be really close. But the point is, yes, I love to go bird watching, and I love the Merlin app where I can hear birds, and I love that. And I love conservation, and I love the idea that these beautiful animals need to be left alone. We don't need to hunt them. Well, the only hunters are going to be really passionate about what they do. I mean, maybe not only hunters, but it's the hunters that we are that really make that time to get up and fox hunting. I don't get up that early to trail ride, and I'm sure not going to trail ride when it's icy, but fox hunting, I'm on that horse and out there for 4 or 5 hours just for the thrill of the chase. But if I'm just going to go ride my horse, no way would I do all that. So there is something about the hunting that really can hook people in a positive way, and it's not the killing. I like the hunting, and I do like the preparing the food and all that. So I'm not against killing. But anyway, those are some thoughts.
Well, it's, I as I listen to you too, I think about that phrase, and I've said it before with some other guests, that idea that, success follows passion. And you really do. When I talk to someone like you, it's really clear how passionate you are about
I love it. I do.
The outdoors and hunting and just in our state and elsewhere. It really does come across.
Yeah. Well, I'm so blessed to be in Mississippi. Oh my goodness. And no matter where we are, we're within just a few minutes of having some great hunting and fishing and horseback riding, and the people are wonderful. And I have very rarely ever run into anyone that did not welcome me onto their property to hunt, or to just open their arms for, let's go do this and explore and have a good time. And it's just, I don't think you find that in the rest of the country, a lot of places. But Mississippi I'm blessed to be born here, and I hope that I will be here my whole life.
Yeah. Man, we hope the same. Man, we're blessed to have you. Allison, thanks for being here. It's a real pleasure.
And thank you. I enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it. Hope
Both
you enjoyed
fellas.
that. Yeah, that's right. and hope you enjoyed that too. For Chip and all of us here at the Mississippi Outdoors Podcast, we appreciate you listening, and we'll see you outdoors.